Outside of the Russia hoax, it's perhaps the most important story of the last year or 5 years in America. It is, of course, the laptop from hell, Hunter Biden's laptop. The New York Post broke that story. My buddies at Breitbart, Alex Marlowe, stole the person who broke that story, and we are delighted to have her on the show right now. Emma Jo Morris, welcome to the Gorka Reality Check.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you were on my radio show for an hour this week. We spoke about the genesis of this incredible story. For those who are not familiar with how you broke it, what happened at the New York Post, we know how it was censored. Will you briefly walk us through the origins, how Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, was crucial to all of this, how you got a phone call from my old White House colleague, Steve Bannon. So, Emma, will you walk us through the genesis of this incredible blockbuster story?
Yeah, so I came into the picture a little bit later. First, Rudy was the one to find out about the existence of the laptop, and he found out because the repair shop guy who originally got it from Hunter, he gave it to the FBI as because he saw what was on it and freaked out, and he didn't want to conceal it from them. He figured law enforcement needed to be involved, so he gave it to them. There's obviously a lot of material that pertains to Ukraine on it. So when Donald Trump was impeached, he waited watching the trial, expecting to see his material be presented in Donald Trump's defense. And when it wasn't, he kind of freaked out and thought that the FBI was burying it. So he reached out to Rudy's lawyer. And when they got their hands on it, they saw that there was not only stuff pertaining to the Ukraine, but more importantly and more significantly, stuff pertaining to the Chinese Communist Party. That was when they involved Steve Bannon, as he's the China expert that they knew. And they called him, told him about it, and he said, we have to get this into the paper. So I was friends from years ago, friends with somebody who then became Bannon's producer on his War Room podcast, Vish Burra. And Vish told Steve, I had just at that point become the deputy politics editor at the New York Post. And Vish told Steve, you have to call this woman. I know her. She's going to handle this story well. And that was how I came into contact with Steve Bannon, who then called me one day and said, yeah, as I said on your radio show, he called me and said, I'm about to change your life.
Well,
yeah.
Well, God bless you, the New York Post, Steve, Rudy, for making it happen. This was the story that changed the way we think about the Bidens forever. It's not just about China and Russia. It's about everything else that you have reported on. You're now the politics editor for Breitbart. Give us your take as a professional journalist on how the legacy mainstream media dealt with your story at the New York Post.
Well, it exposed them as much as it exposed Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. You know, the big tech oligopoly came in and needed to censor it. They needed a premise to censor it. So they said that it was either hacked material or disinformation, neither of which were true. And the media, instead of criticizing or being at least skeptical of the reasoning behind totally curbing the First Amendment right to free press and freedom of speech, instead jumped on the bandwagon and totally unscrupulously published anything that would back up big tech's premise for censoring us. And the obvious reason, I mean, you don't have to take too far of a leap to know that it's because they are themselves Democratic operatives, or they see themselves that way. And, you know, listen, I mean, there is commentary, there's even, political news where it's produced by somebody with a political opinion and they state their political opinion, and you know that this person is coming to you from this perspective. But what's so insidious about the legacy media and the people at Politico and the people at CNN and NBC and who did this was they purport to be straight journalists. They purport to be unbiased and totally on the level. And that's not at all what they are. In fact, they're political activists. And I would even go as far as to say that they are security state activists, which is even worse. You know, these people are supposed to be paid, and their reason for existing is to scrutinize and be skeptical of and hold accountable the security state. as that is, the most secretive and the most centralized source of power in this country and abroad. And
Yeah,
they
let's be
don't
clear.
not only abdicate that responsibility, but they take their side in issues and defend them.
Yeah, this isn't just about, whores and crack pipes. This is about Chinese billions from the Communist National Bank. This is about Biden bragging about being in business with the chief spy of Communist China. This is a national security threat to America. God bless you. Follow this lady at Emma Jo NYC on Twitter. Her New York Post colleague Miranda Devine has just released the book, The Laptop from Hell. Read it and read this lady's writings at Breitbart as well. I'm Sebastian Gorka. Next, as ever, Dr. G's prescription. Stay with us here on The Reality Check.